What's up, everybody? My name is Vince, aka Really Bad Comic Books. Welcome to the Intelligent Comic Book Investor. So we're going to talk about a few things today. We're going to talk about volatility, especially as it relates to Hulk 181 and X-Men 1. We're going to talk about RoboGrader. I've been using that AI app to grade many of my books, and I'm going to tell you where I'm impressed with it and where I think it needs growth. I'm also going to tell you a story because it's San Diego Comic Con week. I'm going to tell you a story about how I snuck into San Diego Comic Con, and maybe who knows, maybe you can do the same thing. And then I'm going to show you some original art that I bought that I'm absolutely really fucking excited about. So I'm ready to show you all that stuff. Let's get going. So let's talk about RoboGrader first. Um, So I am going to show you RoboGrader. So RoboGrader, as I mentioned in one of my last videos, it's an AI app. And listen, his ambition is so that you never have to, so that when you want to grade your comic books, it should take minutes and it's just as good as if you sent it off to CGC and waited months for it. And what I said as a response to that video was that, we talked about trust. We talked about information asymmetry and how the problem is that the seller knows infinitely more about whatever he's selling than the buyer does. And it creates asymmetry because what's going to happen is that the buyer is always at a disadvantage. But what I did say is that what I think RoboGrader can do is help balance the power and create trust at the low levels. When I say the low levels, I mean low levels meaning if you want to buy and sell raws, um, you can at least agree. You can have the app. I can have the app. We can look at it. We can make an assessment ourselves with the app over what the grade is. You can run your assessment, I can run mine, and we can decide, okay, here's where we think the grade is. No problem. Problem is at the higher level. So I'm going to explain why. So here's the app. And I've graded quite a bit. And if you buy in volume, you'll get a cheaper price per grade that you want, per comic book that you want to grade. You're going to get a cheaper price. The highest you'll pay is $2 per grade, and the lowest you'll pay is $1 per grade. But you got to spend more money if you want to get to it. So I've been really impressed by the way the app finds defects. I'll show you what I mean. So I have an X-Men 4, a raw X-Men 4. And you'll notice that when I took a picture of the interior of the book, it picked up tape here. So down here, it says tape, interior page, right edge, yellow strip, about 1.5 inches long. Pretty impressive, honestly. I think that really is pretty impressive that it'll pick that up. The problem I have with the app right now is that it's inaccurate at high grades. Now, he even said that he wanted it to grade conservatively. Well, that's bullshit. I don't want it to grade conservatively. I want to know what the grade is. I don't want it to hedge. I want to know what the grade is. What is the grade? That's why I'm using the app. If I want to guess and be conservative, I can look at it and say, well, conservatively, it's an 8 to 8.5, but it looks like a 9 to me. I can do that. I don't need an app to tell me that. I need an app to tell me what the fucking grade is. Now, I know I'm coming down hard on this. And you might think I'm not impressed with it, but I am. It's fantastic. And honestly, it's in alpha. I wouldn't even say it's in beta right now. I'd say it's in alpha. And it already does amazing things like being able to pick up defects. But I need the app to tell me what the grade is. So if I look at Absolute Batman, so this Absolute Batman 22, let me go back to me right now, and then I'll go back to this. Absolute Batman 22, Dan Quintana. Finally, Dan Quintana does a cover A for Absolute Batman, not just a variant, cover A. You get a Dan Quintana. You get a Dan Quintana. You get a Dan Quintana. Here you go. You can have a Dan Quintana now, and you don't have to pay an arm and a leg. You have to pay about $5.99, which is what I paid for. So anyway, this is this cover A, Dan Quintana. I think it's a 9.8. I just got it last week. I pulled it out of the bag to go and have it graded. Let's say it's not a 9.8 at the very least. The very least, it's a 9.6. So let me show you the process. So this is the app on my phone, RoboGrader. It's going to ask you to take some photos. Okay. So you take some photos of the front, and then you're going to take a photo of the spine. And then after you've taken a photo of the spine, then you're going to want to take a photo of the interior. And here's where I basically fumbled some stuff. But anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the whole video. It's 5 minutes long. But you put basically what he encouraged you to do is put like a white backing board there so that basically you're giving the camera the idea of what white looks like. I've got a white background even on my desk, but regardless, I went ahead and did it, and I think it's a great idea, actually. So then what it has you do, if you take the front cover, take the spine, take interior, and then you take the back, then it's going to ask you to kind of crop the photos just to make sure that all you got there is the comic book itself. All right. Fast forward, because then what it does is that it starts to grade the book. It's going to scan all the images. It's going to start to grade the book. And when it grades the book, it's going to give you a score here, and it came back at a 9.2. Now, when it comes out at 9.0 or higher, it unlocks what's called a deep assessment. A deep assessment is basically where it's going to have you zoom in on the corners of the book to really get deep into seeing, listen, what is this here? What can we improve upon the grade or not? And I've never seen a deep assessment improve upon the grade. And so I ran the deep assessment. And so it goes through the process here again, where it's going to scan the corners, each of the corners of the front of the book. And then it's going to come up with, it purports to have a new grade. Like if it doesn't, why would you, and you're paying another $1 for this. If it doesn't possibly come up with a new grade, why would you do it? Doesn't make sense. So it's going to go through the process of grading it again, and it's going to come up with a new assessment, and it comes back again at a 9.2. You got white pages, which is good, but it comes back at a 9.2. Okay. So let me show you let's dig a little bit more into the defects that it found. And this is its strength. This is the strength of this app. So if we go into Absolute Batman, and it's going to go through where it thinks that there are defects. Corner wear, bottom left corner, very light. Okay. Well, let's see what is on the bottom left corner. So there it is. You see that little white piece on the corner there? That's a scuff. It found that, which is impressive. But truth be told, that's the only flaw in the book. It also said few faint non-color breaking lines, 1 to 3 millimeters. Says it's a pressing candidate. So the problem I have is that the main reason you use apps like this is to find out the grade. That's what you want. You want the grade. Now, you want to know the defects too, but the defects should make up the grade. Conservatively, this is a 9.6. But most likely, it's a 9.8. And my grounding for that is I just got it last week, and literally that is the only problem with this book. I love the app. I do. But damn it, I don't want it to be conservative. I want the grade. So, next topic. Let's talk about Hulk 181. So I'm going to show you Go Collect for Hulk 181. And you know, we have a 9.8, and this average has been anywhere from 50, almost 54,000 30 days ago. But within the last year, it got up to 59,000. And we know this book has been at a 9.8 has been like 70,000. Well, the problem is that with Go Collect, it's the same as GPA. GPA, like different dealers, as well as Heritage, as well as eBay, it pulls the information from those platforms and populates the cost here so that it can make assessments for fair market value. There are other places on the internet that you can buy comics that does not report. Landry Pop Auctions does not report. Comic Link does not report. So Go Collect added this neat little thing called Crowd Reported. So anybody can find a sale for a particular comic and be able to populate it right within Go Collect. So when we go here to Crowd Reported, we'll see that Ryan with Automatic Comics created a crowd reported sale of this book this week, July 20th, 2 days ago. So let's look at it. $38,777 for a book that used to sell in COVID times for over 100,000. Now, what's the problem here? Nothing. Everything is as it should. What I mean by that is that this book has almost, 15,500 universal grades on the census and over 1,600 that have been signed. If we go over here to GP analysis for Hulk 181, there's 224 for sale right now. Supply has no problem keeping up with demand. And we're in the middle of seeing this book race to the bottom. Now, it's not going to go to zero. But everyone who wants this book in 9.8, I think what's going to happen is that we're going to get to an under $20,000 purchase for this book at 9.8. We already see it for great giant size X-Men #1. And, that's what, the third appearance of Wolverine? But it's also the first appearance of all these other main incredible characters that we love. It's I really do think we're going to see in the next year, maybe two, that this book go to be sold for under $20,000. We're on that path. And the guy from, I can't remember his name, David. It's fucking David. David from Comic Books Unleashed, Unhinged. He did a video, and I don't remember which one it was, but he went through, like, he's got 20 of these raw. Like, people are hoarding these. They haven't even graded them yet. And there's gonna be more and more and more coming on the census. So what's my advice here? Stay away from the book. Don't buy the book. It's not a good investment. It's not a good investment at $38,000. It's not like the person who bought it at $38,000 is going to regret buying it at $38,000. The person who bought it at $54,000 is already regretting buying that book at $54,000, and that just happened 30 days ago. I'll tell you another book who's had a bad month. X-Men 1. Same situation, though. Same situation. There's 120 live listings of X-Men 1. Anybody who wants one can have one. Anybody. And if you look at this month, we've got let me go to 3.0. 3.0. Here we go. Right? Is that 3.5? That's 3.5. God damn it. Okay. 3.0. Here we go. Just this year, it sold 13 times. You can have it anytime you want, as long as you're willing to pay. In this case, just around between $5,000 and $6,000. And this was just sold last week for $6,000. Do you think the people who paid $6,800 hate that? Goddamn right they do. And here's what's worse. They could have bought a 3.5 this week, 2 days ago, for $5,300. A half a grade higher. And in June, they could have bought one for $6,100. That's if you pay for a X-Men anywhere between a 2 and a 5, you might as well buy the 5.5 because that's probably the optimal investment grade between 5.5 and 6. Other than that, you just want one. You just want an X-Men 1. And if you're going to pay $6,000 for it and you just want one, get a 1.0. Here's a 1.0. You can pay $3,000 for it. $2,700, $3,500, $2,700, $2,000 at a 1.0. Half the price of a 3.5. Or actually, it's half the price of a 4. It makes no sense, I tell you. It makes no sense. So if we scroll up, sorry, I know I'm making you dizzy. I'm making myself dizzy. But if we look at a 5.5, like if you're gonna spend here, this is July this year for a 4.5, $7,600. When you could have bought a 5, that's 5.5. You could have for a 5. You could have, if you spent 10,000 here. Look at what you could have got for a 5.5. In March, you could have bought one for 9,800, a 5.5. So, and then from a 6 perspective, this is where it starts to go up. This is a fluke right here. This $18,000. Like he just wanted one. He could have had a 6.5 for this amount, but it's not what he wanted. He wanted it now. He wanted it now. Or she. We're not gender biased here. Could have been a she who made a mistake. So my point is that if you're wanting to invest in an X-Men 1, you're going to need to hold out for a 5.5 or 6. Or go upwards from that. Because the 6.5 here is between 14 and 18,000. This is the very nature of volatility. And you have to know not to spend 18,000 for this. You got to make sure it's like that you're like, I just want it. But don't you want other books too? I mean, you could have bought this X-Men 1 and for at a 6.0, or all right, at a 6.5, you could have bought this and an X-Men 1.0 for 3,000 for the same goddamn price. It behooves you. And to many investors, you're already doing this, and I get it. But don't get caught up in the bullshit that goes on in your mind. Don't get caught up in the bullshit that makes you believe I've got to have this book and I don't give a shit if it goes to 20,000. Because it's going to end up costing you dollars to invest in other things. other books. That's my soapbox for investment on X-Men 1 and 181. 181, don't even fucking buy it. Just don't. Don't fucking buy it. X-Men 1, if you're going to buy it at the high, buy it at a true mid grade, but don't pay an arm and a leg for it. Look at what the GPA is at. And, you can, if you might have to wait a little bit, but you'll get it for 15K. Shit. Go look at Comic Link. You can probably get one there. Hope that was helpful. All right. Now, I want to tell you a story. So it is San Diego Comic-Con week. I went to San Diego Comic-Con last year for the very first time. Had a blast, by the way. Had an absolute blast. If you're going there this week, make reservations in La Jolla at George's. You will not regret it. The food there is amazing, and it's got the greatest view on the planet of the Pacific Ocean. Do yourself a favor and go to George's. Who cares how pricey it is? It's the greatest experience you will have eating a meal ever. Okay. 100,000 people go to San Diego Comic-Con. 1 million people try to buy tickets, and they do it in November. And they have a policy of no transferring of tickets. So you have your best chance, and it's a 10% chance, your best chance at getting a ticket for San Diego Comic-Con is to just enter the lottery, basically, try to get one in November. Well, I didn't know I was ready. I could go. I didn't even know that going to San Diego Comic-Con could have been a thing in November of 2024. So what I did is that I went on the StubHub and I got a ticket. Someone sold a ticket there. I bought it. And so I go there, and then I find out that there's that's not legal. You're not going to get thrown in jail. However, they do reserve the right, if they catch you with a badge that you did not buy through them, they reserve the right to ban the motherfucker who sold it to you and you. Okay. Again, I didn't know that when I bought it. I found that out afterwards. I'm standing in line at San Diego Comic to walk in and scan my badge. Badge doesn't work. Oh, try it again. Doesn't work. And then they're like, they don't immediately suspect you're full of shit and that you don't really own this badge. They're like, the RFID chip's not working. Go to the RFID chip counter and fix it. So I'm like, okay. So I go to the RFID chip counter, which is behind the gate to get into San Diego Comic-Con, thankfully. So you got to walk through. You have to show that you have a badge, but you walk through and you stand in line at this RFID counter so that they can fix your RFID, and then you go back out and go back in. I knew I was in trouble. If they were going to look for, the name on the badge, which is like, I don't know, Kip Winger or whatever. I don't happen to have Kip Winger's driver's license on me or any kind of ID. So I decided that waiting in line was not going to be the right move. Thankfully, 20 feet away from the badge counter is the exhibition hall. And I'm like, How big of balls do I have right now? Because there, when you get in the exhibition hall, they're just looking to make sure you have a badge. They assume it's been scanned. So I look around, didn't see anybody looking. And I walked out of the RFID line and I walked straight for the exhibition hall. And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't look around. I didn't look at the security guard looking for my badge. I just walked right in. Bam. Snuck in. Worked. I was pinching my butt cheeks, but it worked. And for that, I'm grateful. Hopefully, for those of you who are at San Diego Comic Con this week, everything's fine and you go right in. But if you have to go to the RFID counter and you did what I did and you bought an illegal badge, you might want to just not stand in line and go ahead and make a beeline for the exhibition hall. That's what I did. All right. Last thing, I want to show you some original art I bought. First thing I want to show you, and I bought this because it's got the signature of someone who rarely signed. I got this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sketch by Kevin Eastman, but it's also signed by Peter David. This is something that and it was really the Peter David signature that sold it. I have actually they just finished grading my last Ronin series. Kevin Eastman just did a signing, and they're in the process of shipping my books back to me. But I really honestly wanted a David autograph, and Laird. It's Laird. It's not Peter David. Wish it was Peter David, but it's not. No, it's Laird. Eastman and Laird. So anyway, I got this. This is what sold it, and I'm really glad I got it. Now, my favorite artist is Brian Bolland. My favorite cover of all times is The Killing Joke. So, when I saw this sketch of the Joker for sale by Brian Bolland, I had to be the motherfucker to buy it. And I bought it on an Elite Comics 11, bought both these on an Elite Comics 11 sale. And when I got it, and I saw it, I felt like the smartest guy in the room. And everyone else who passed on these are idiots. Oh man, I just love it. And I'm going to put it up next to my Killing Joke #1 on the wall, and go from there. I don't collect a lot of original art. And, these aren't published pieces, so it's not like it's worth $1 billion. But it is, in a lot of ways, it's not a one-of-one, but it's something that Brian Bolland drew. And it's pretty goddamn priceless to me. What do you collect? What's original art that you would like? What's the guy that you like? Man, I want a sketch from that guy. Who's that? Let me know in the comments. Y'all, thank you for listening. You stuck with it. Good for you, man. I'm proud of you. I am super proud of you and truly grateful. I truly am grateful. I'm grateful that anybody listens to this or watches it, as the case may be. Just know that I love you. I actually do. Folks, have a great one. We're going to see you back here in my next video, which should be up in a few days. Cheers.